Me, please raise your hand and we will get started.
Oh, no.
Jen,
Hey, Sydney, can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry, I'm in an airport today.
no worries. I understand.
I figured. As you guys look back at the week of games against Vegas and Phoenix, do you feel like the issues that you guys had in those games were similar throughout the week, or do you feel like you kind of solved some problems and then different ones would pop up?
I think there were definitely patterns that were displayed throughout the course of those 3 games. We came out in the first half in all 3 games really hard, both ends of the floor. We set the tone, we were controlling the pace, and then the theme and the pattern for us has been the third quarter and the lulls that take place. And a couple, I remember the Phoenix game too. They had momentum. They hit that last second shot right before the end of the first half that carries into the third quarter. And that was felt. And so I think we've been focused on talking about, even during the course of those games, acknowledging the third quarter. We got to focus on how we come out, being very intentional with our possessions and excuse me, how we're defending. But that was something that was very present in all 3 games, was how we were playing in the third quarter. And that's a deal breaker. I mean, if they can go on a run, it's a game of runs anyways, but they in all 3 games were able to go on a big run that they basically punched us in the face, and we just were trying to play catch up the rest of the half. So that's definitely something that we've been thinking about and focusing on as we go into the game tomorrow.
And do you guys feel like you have that figured out, or are you still kind of, troubleshooting there?
No, I think obviously each team that we play brings a different feel and a different look to the floor. And so we just have to be mindful of what Seattle does from the jump. But I think we've acknowledged it. We've talked about it. We've been troubleshooting it, problem solving, planning on how we're going to attack it come game time tomorrow.
Last thing for me, how nice was it? How do you guys feel after having a night in your own beds last night? You guys ready to go for a big stretch of home games?
Yes, we're definitely grateful to be back in DC, to get here safely, to have a night in our own beds, as you said. And it's a quick turnaround. Obviously, tomorrow we have an afternoon game, but I know that we're hungry. We have a lot of urgency right now, and we have to have that. And you can feel it across the board when we're watching film, when we're going through sets, when we're talking about the game plan. And so it's nice to be home, and we're looking forward to being in front of our fans tomorrow as well.
Sounds good. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Travel safely.
Christy.
Hey there, Sydney. With playing a team like Seattle, obviously now they have Bird and Stewie back in the lineup in that second game where they beat New York after losing to New York a couple nights prior to that. They lead the league in assists. What is the plan and not strategic, but what is the mentality taking on a team that averages almost 22 assists per game?
Yeah, they make it difficult to play defense. And I think the key for us in order to be successful on that end is we can't cheat any possessions. We can't cheat any plays or try and predetermine what they're going to be doing, because they are reading exactly what we're doing, and then they take what we're giving them. And so we have to play them honest. I think that's the biggest key for us. Whatever that looks like for each set that they're running, obviously it helps to watch film and know what they're trying to do and the threats that they have, and the little tendencies that each of them bring to the floor and how they play together. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about remaining honest in how we're playing them and not trying to get ahead of ourselves to try and stop the action before it takes place.
And then on the offensive side, you were talking about the lulls and how that's been addressed vocally. But what does that next step take? And it's all, a lot of it is mental, and I understand that. But what is that next step to take so that there is some continuity and some sustainability of efficient offense in that second half for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's just keeping that consistent mindset. Like when we start the game and you see that flow, you feel that rhythm. We know how we're attacking the game plan and the game plan that we've set forth and worked on leading up to the game. And I think it's just carrying that over into the third quarter, having a couple sets that we can rely on to get us good looks, to get us to the foul line, just to have our good spacing and good rhythm on the ball. And so I think we know what to do, and we've talked about it. Obviously, the last 3 games, we're aware of it. So now it's just putting it into practice and continuing to vocalize it, be aware of it. And if it's starting to take place, if you start to feel anything that's off, nip it in the bud and go to what works for us, and being on the same page when it comes to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it, Sydney. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Do you have any good injury
Good afternoon, my name
updates?
is Jackie, and I would like to welcome you to the boarding area for American Airlines.
Sorry,
flight
somebody needs to. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
Carry-on allowance.
Sorry,
One
Coach, I'm in
carry-on
an
bag and one
airport.
personal
Any
item.
injury
Please place
updates?
your personal item.
Tomorrow will be the first time in 2 years where I can say it's probable that everybody will play. So, yeah, that's a good news.
That's awesome. How did Elena look today?
She's actually going through a workout right now. I would say she looks good. We're going to try to decide later on today what the minute limit will be. There'll be some sort of a restriction. There's a chance she could maybe play maybe half the game, so we'll see.
May not be able to
Is
provide
Maisha
adjustments
still on a
to
limit?
I haven't had that discussion today. I think it's moving up based on the last couple days, and she's feeling pretty good. So if she is, it will be a higher number than it's been.
And how do you feel? Do you feel like you've been able to solve some of the issues that plagued you guys on the road trips with the slow second halves?
I have no idea till we play tomorrow. Part of it is adjustment teams have made. Part of it us is are not reacting to it. Part of it is fatigue. Part of it is, being a little smarter in reading how we're being played. Both teams that we played this week had to make adjustments at halftime because what they were doing defensively wasn't working. And when they made adjustments, we didn't make enough of a definitive one. I thought, in one game, we kind of went too much one-on-one. In another game, we didn't make the extra pass to find the mismatch. It's a combination of things. So I won't know how that plays out until I see us do it against somebody.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Christy?
Hey there, Coach. That's such great news to have everybody back for tomorrow's game. And with the Seattle team, they lead the league in assists and also in scoring numbers. What is that challenge going to be on the defensive end because of what they present offensively?
I think, what we did when we played them out there is that we were so connected defensively for long stretches. It was like, the old proverbial, be tied on the rope. When one person goes to help, the next person's got to help them. I think that's the first thing. I think you got to get out defensively and get back in transition, get matched up 5-on-5, regardless of who the matchup is. You just got to get matched with them. You can't let them all of a sudden come down, and because you're trying to run to the person you're supposed to guard, leave somebody wide open at the 3-point line. They kill you on that. If you watched any of the New York game last night, it was a 3-point show for them for a long stretch. I think the second thing is that, you got to pressure their guards. You can't let Sue and Jewel Lloyd just feel like they can go wherever they want. Obviously Stewie's always a problem. You can't let her have the little clever things that she does. She'll act like she's going to run a pick and roll and slip it. She's going to get, a good little flare screen in transition that gets her a wide open three. You've got to be alert. I think alertness is probably one of the biggest keys tomorrow against them.
And then on the offensive side for you all, having obviously everybody in tow. I know you've been running a lot of the same things, but now with everybody back, what is that going to feel like for you in terms of rotations and options on the offensive side?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll have the rotations completely set until we get through a game or two with, what we're trying to do with Elena. It'll depend on what we kind of come to as a final minutes thing for her and trying to balance that out for each half. But I think that, it's going to be a little bit of an experiment because we haven't had them. We
Right.
just haven't. This is the first time other than USA basketball that Elena and Tina have ever played together. Leilani Mitchell's been here for a while. She's never played in a game with, Elena Deladon. And so it's gonna be a different experience for a lot of people to try to figure it out. Certainly for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. One last thing, happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. As usual, this is, we're not doing it together, so
Oh, but soon enough.
soon enough.
That's it, Coach. Thank you.
You bet.
It's going good. How you doing?
Good. We just heard that Elena is likely to play tomorrow. What kind of, emotional boost does that give you guys, seeing her very likely to make her return?
I mean, the last time she played, the last year she played, she was the MVP. I mean, it's just always, it's a good feeling because, I mean, like behind the scenes, like how much work she's been putting in. And those are the things that go unseen. So for this day to come, I mean, it's just a nod to all the hard work she's been putting in, and for her to get back here. I mean, she looks great to me. She looks really good.
And how has she been, blending with the folks who weren't on that 2019 team, like her and Tina and her, and, I could go down the list.
I mean, honestly, if you ask them, I don't want to speak for them, but it looks as if like she's always played with them. Like, I mean, she's just one of those players that I feel like she can fit any system, any type of players, and she makes people better. Because she just gives you the confidence. Like, I mean, when you have an MVP player, telling you to shoot it, I mean, you don't come across those type of players all the time. And, she has the confidence. And then, like I said, the work she's been putting in, she not only leads by her voice, but she leads by example as well. So I'm just happy that she's back.
Me too. Can't wait to see it. And then just wanted to ask you, I know it was a bit of a tough road trip, particularly with your second halves. Do you guys feel confident that you have those things resolved? And, what sorts of things are you focused on tomorrow to try to have a stronger second half?
Just going in with the mindset that it's the start of a new game. Because I feel like we started games great. So if we have that mindset as if we're starting a new game, we should be okay. But I think it's just just locking in, thinking that the score is 0-0, and not playing to the score. And just, playing like we're down, playing that we're clawing to, make this playoff push, getting this playoff bid. Because at this point, I feel like that's what we're fighting for sure.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Sorry, Christy, go ahead.
That's okay. I don't think I got my hand up. I couldn't tell if it was up or not. Hey there, Tori. How are you? Good. And I know, Jen just alluded to having Elena back, but Coach was also talking just about the offense and what that's going to look like in terms of how to reacclimate rotations and all of that. What do you anticipate coming from that in terms of having a different rotation with Deladon back?
Just we're all trying to just bring in energy, and just go in and play hard, and not necessarily focus on the score. I mean, and not necessarily like putting too much pressure on Deladon. She's gonna do what she does, and she hasn't played in 2 years, so we can't put so much on her. We continue to have to hold our own, and not just rely on her doing it by herself. Not that we're gonna do that. But we all just have to have the mindset of, just holding our own, knowing our role, and just being an all-star in that role.
Right. And then on the defensive end, against a team like Seattle that likes to generate a lot of their offense in transition, they lead the league in transition points, also assists, threes, and scoring overall. That's kind of a pace that is going to have to be contained. What kinds of things defensively do you need to do in particular to contain their offense?
Pressure. I think it definitely starts with the first line of defense as us guards with pressure. We got to take vision away from Sue. If we can try to get some deflections and try to kill Sue's vision as much as we can, she won't be able to see those long court passes or those slips that Stewie likes to get in the pick and roll offense, or Jewel coming off of her pin downs. If we can get Sue to turn or tire her out, I feel like if we could put the pressure on their guards to make those passes easier, then the assists can go down and even get deflections, and we can stop the pace and the tempo of their offense, or slow it down at least.
Right. And was there anything in particular that Elena said at practice today in anticipation of playing? Was there any kind of conversation that she had with the team or the coaches or anything?
No, we've always like kind of always heard her voice in practice. So even though she hasn't been practicing like before, her voice was always heard. So it always felt like she was in practice, even though she physically wasn't there. So it kind of is not as big of a jump as people that haven't been in practice may seem, because her voice is always being heard. Her presence is always felt. Like if we're in a huddle at practice, if we're going up and down, she's talking in the huddle, like as if she's on the court. So with that, it makes the transition that much easier.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it, Tori. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate your time.